Thank you for being here. I'm excited to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Very special guest.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so when I asked you to be on the show, you actually said I can ask you anything that I want. So with that offer, I want to know, because I have known you for a long time, but what is your indulgence? I want to know, like, what is like what's your indulgence? I
love being out in the community. Yeah,
Putting you on the spot here, come on.
I know.
I know it's peanut butter, right? Partly.
Right, yeah.
No. What is an indulgence of yours?
I love golf. I played yesterday too with some clients, but I love going to restaurants that I haven't been to and discovering new places to go and enjoy dinner and dark chocolate, as well as peanut butter.
With the peanut butter, so Reese's
not
peanut butter cup.
But I do have, Trader Joe's has those little dark chocolate peanut butter cups.
Yes, those are
one
really
of those
good.
Instead of a bowl of ice cream.
Yeah. Because we have shared some peanut butter stories, because that's one of my weaknesses.
It's
for
a go-to.
Sure.
It's definitely a go-to for getting through sometimes. But.
So you haven't lived in Arizona that long, and you love golf. So were you playing golf before you got to Arizona?
When the snow wasn't flying back in Rochester, New York, where I'm from, and then I joined this company in Milwaukee for 1 year, where it was like the coldest winter ever, and then moved out here. Had the opportunity to come here as publisher. So I was promoted from ad director in Milwaukee to publisher here, and have been here now 6.5 years, and have enjoyed from literally the moment I got here. I had a choice of going to Denver or to Phoenix, and this market was my first choice, and it's been just great ever since. The people I've met, the business opportunities I've had, this is just such a welcoming community, and I know that everybody says that and you hear it a lot, but it's so true that from the day I flew in and they gave me an opportunity to, come out and spend a little time here before I accepted the position. And I said, no, that's where I want to go. And, I said 4.5 million people can't be wrong living there, and the way that the state was growing. And of course, keeping in mind what it went through during the recession and hit really hard times. And I knew that the market was going to come back, and obviously it has. And there's just been so much activity, economic development activity, and people moving here. And, and then of course our new circumstances around COVID-19, but this has been a great place. It was a great move for me, and everything's worked out really well.
Do you find that people say to you, it's so easy to infiltrate this city, that it's the smallest big city?
Sure.
Because you can really network well and meet key influencers that in other cities is really hard to do. I find people saying that a lot.
Yeah, definitely, and I've experienced that myself too, and especially other places I've lived, where there's like these generations of families that have been there, and you kind of have to kiss the ring of some of those families in order to be accepted. But here, you can be from anywhere and just really be able to transition to the market. And, especially those cities back in the Northeast and some in the Midwest too, that are just so familial. And the first question where I've been on sales calls with other people in other markets, and it's, where did you go to school, or where did you grow up? And trying to, the 3 questions, there's 6 degrees of separation to quickly find out, what somebody's background is, to be able to know, where they're from, or what connection you have to them too. And that, there's still connections here, but it's not generational as much as it is just
I
people
try to play that game because I'm born and raised here, but everyone's from somewhere else. So it's getting harder to play that game because it is a melting pot. People from all different, parts of the country. But I think that's just an interesting part of this city. And so you're with the Business Journal, the Phoenix Business Journal. So the business community you've gotten to learn a lot about. What's the most interesting thing in the period of time so far that you've been here that you've learned about the business community?
About business? And again, just going back to how everybody can become friends at, even banking, which, we have a lot of interaction with a lot of banks, but there's still, it's competitive, but it's still friendly competition too. And again, you don't find that in other markets. So it's really nice to be able to be out with a group of bankers, and they all know each other, and there's a bankers convention every year, Arizona State Bankers Convention, that moves between Dove Mountain down near Tucson, and then up in Sedona. They move it each year. But when they bring all the bankers together, it's just a very friendly atmosphere, and there's a golf event. But it's really nice to see friendly competition too. And it's very, very much similar with, commercial real estate and even in the legal community too. A lot of the law firms too are still, they're competitive, of course, but and many of them still have their silos where they're, more specialists in certain verticals, certain industries too.
And I see that in my industry. It's just everyone wants to help each other, and I think that's very unique. When I talk to people in other cities, we're really lucky to have that camaraderie among everybody.
Yep. Doesn't exist everywhere.
So where do you see some of the business community in Phoenix going? I mean, I read about construction and tech and different industries that are moving here for various reasons. But overall, I mean, I'm not looking for a specific forecast, but where do you feel, we have some opportunity to thrive and grow?
Well, right now the booming industry, well, first of all, when construction was an essential business in the state, that just kept things moving. So, and of course, the construction companies went through their RFPs, 1 or 2 years ago, those contracts were already, and plans were already in place. So those kept moving and very successfully too. There were not a lot of the cases of COVID-19. So by construction being able to continue their trajectory, just kept things moving too and kept a lot of people working. Right now there's a lot of activity in manufacturing. There's, the commitments that we've had from so many big companies, the Taiwanese semiconductor company that committed here. The biosciences is becoming very active. And, from literally the day that I moved here, what I learned was how much, the colleges and universities had an impact on economic development,
especially
too.
ASU.
Well, ASU certainly, because this is their home field advantage. But Grand Canyon University and U of A, that's done a lot more in the market. NAU has more of a presence here. Ottawa University out in the West Valley. And then you talk about infrastructure and what the 303 out in the West Valley has done for that development, and both with housing development, and we're writing frequently about homes. Home builders that are coming in here from outside the state too. So it's not just those locally, but so many of the home builders have committed to projects where they've started with their land acquisition. They can't build the homes fast enough. Our home values have increased dramatically. So just all of this other economic development activity that's been occurring is just only going to continue to grow. And we spend a lot of time with Arizona Commerce Authority to learn a lot about what's happening too, and as well as other industries directly. But they have currently 100 projects or 100 clients that they're working with in terms of speaking to about relocation or adding another market or growing, expanding into Arizona. So there's so much going on.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, it's not going to slow down.
Yeah,
it's not going to slow down.
Those are good problems for us to have, especially
now,
these days.
Now, the flip side is hospitality. That's where this market has been challenged, especially.
And that's one of our key economic drivers.
It is, yeah, and tax revenues too, which we've been fortunate. They've reforecast the state budget based on sales tax revenues and so on, and we're still much better than they originally forecast. But definitely hospitality needs to come back for us too, and it will probably later in 2021 and then moving forward, because we depend on a lot of those big conventions and conferences that come into town.
Well, I hope we get all that back. So you have an anniversary coming up.
Yes, I do.
Right?
Yeah, 1 year coming up on Election Day, and I voted to extend her term for more.
Well, lucky Tracy.
I know.
Well, I had the privilege of being there. It was such a beautiful, intimate wedding at a home in a backyard that was just gorgeous. And so congratulations to you for that. And it was a Saturday last year. I know the date has fallen on the election day, so hopefully you can find some time to celebrate that's not election related.
Yeah. And I actually met Tracy after I moved here too, so that was another, besides great job, great opportunity to meet people and great people, I also met my my now wife here too. So
well, we're lucky to have you here spearheading the Business Journal. Selfishly, I feel very lucky to have you as a special friend in my life. So we look forward to more with you in the Valley and the impact that you're making too.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's a great place to be, a great place to live, and the people really are what makes a difference too. And we do it in a beautiful surrounding here. And and again, when people move to the desert, they think, oh, why do you want to move to the desert? Or when I was moving out here, But desert landscaping is beautiful, and until you really can appreciate it, it's hard to understand it when you're living back in the Northeast where there's snow on the ground for 6 months a year, and weather's a lot different, obviously. But
so, will you come back? And if you come on the show, and if you come back, can we maybe do it on the golf course?
That sounds great. Yeah,
so I want to see this game that I hear about.
I know. No, I do. I love golf, and this is a great place to be if you love golf too. And so many great golf courses, and a lot of great people to play golf with too.
All right. Well, we'll have you back.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
No, my pleasure.
And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Now with Jen.